Hey, what's going on? Justin here from Modern Mixing, and today is day 7 of how to mix a hip-hop vocal into an instrumental. And today is the 7th day and the final day of the series, and we're going to be discussing the master bus and some automation. So let's get right into it. So the first plugin we used was the Camel Crusher by Camel Audio, and there's only really one section that I focused on, and that section was the distortion, and pretty much left everything else alone. So there's two parameters here. There's the tube, and I kind of look at this as like the low to low mids, even creeping into some of the mids, and then the mech, which is more of the high mids. And in this case, I put a touch of the mech in it just to kind of give it a little bit more edge in the upper mid range. But I used mostly the tube because I felt like the tube, what it was doing was it was kind of fusing the vocal and the track or the production together. It just bring out some harmonics in the vocals and the production that just made them live together a little bit better. And I just liked the way it sounded, so I went with it. The next plugin we used was the Manny American EQ, pulling just a little bit out around 400 just to open up the overall track, and then also pulling a little bit out in the high end around 1730 or so, and that was just to cut out some of that harsh high end that I felt was in the track. The last plugin I used was the Maxim, and this was just to bring the overall loudness up to 0 to get it to like CD standard type of thing. And I was only knocking off maybe about a half a dB. So let's audition this and we'll see what it sounds like.
My whole life I was an optimistic, but all I showed you was pessimistic. I'm mistaken, my mistake, man. I'm sorry my eyes are pulled towards a forsaken. For fuck's sakes, man, but wasn't I shown this in my fan first glance? As a puppet stance and the puppeteers prance, and they put the damn clamps on everything they can, cause everything they want they're getting on advance. So don't you get this, we're paying this with our lives. The only way they repay us is with lies. And why do all I do is whine and cry all about you? Sit here repose cause you're supposed to do more. I can't leave cause you're all that I know. I'll wake up, get up and tell me it's a new day.
As you can see, I didn't actually have to crush this track to make it sound pretty loud. I mean, it might not be quite as loud as some other tracks out there, but you also have to keep in mind that we're working with certain limitations, like the beat was already produced, it was already put together. He already had some sort of limiting on his track. I couldn't get into it, so we could only do so much to make it sound louder. And then plus we actually had to take a little bit away from the beat so that we could get the vocals to fit into it. So again, we're not trying to, the goal is not to make it sound as loud as possible. It's to make it sound as clean, as clear as possible, and then the loudness is just an extra bonus. But anyways, let's move on to the automation. So we didn't use too much automation in this track, but we did use some, so we need to address it. Like for instance, this part here was just a little bit too loud in the beginning, so we had to turn it down a bit. And then there was a couple other parts where we used some of the gain clip just to turn down those initial, first parts of a word. And I think there was a couple P's in here, like on this part here and this part here, that were a bit annoying, so I had to pull those back a little bit. Then we used some volume automation for the delays in the verses. Going into the chorus, I wanted that delay that went into the chorus to sound a little bit louder because the chorus gets louder, so I wanted that delay to sort of compete and not get lost in the chorus. So that's why there's that funny looking triangle automation there, just to make it louder going into the chorus. So the last automation that I used was on the mix bus, and the idea here was to make the verses a little bit quieter and then make the choruses just a little bit louder. And we're not talking a lot here, we're talking just a little bit, like maybe a dB, so that when the choruses came in, they just felt like there was a little bit more energy. So when I'm turning that up, I'm turning up, the whole track is going up, so the beat, the vocals, everything. So yeah, so that's it for the automation. Pretty straightforward. I didn't really use it on anything else. And thank you for everybody that stuck through the whole series from beginning to end, because I know it can be a little bit dry sometimes, but it is important to soak up as much knowledge as you possibly can in order for you to become, eventually self-sufficient, and that's the goal. But if you haven't been to the site, do so now. Become a member. You get all the session files. They're all laid out there for you. They're up there now. You also get the files for the R&B song and for the acoustic song and some other stuff. And, you know, go make friends. Go talk amongst one another. But anyways, that's it for now. I'm out. I'll see you next video. The ratio on the 337 was about 2:1. Second one's about 4:1. And on the capital drums for the parallel channel, snare verb, short delay, etc., etc. So you need to kind of create your own style of how you label things. Seconds, which is the longest that the compressor will allow me to use. And the reason why I did that is to help with the body of the sound. So, and then I'll turn it up and I'll show you what's going on with the bass as I turn it up. Solo it. Okay.